dipped in, dipped. You just take whatever condiments? No.
Honey, I'm gonna need you to power through.
I'm here today to bring you two of my absolute favorite appetizers that I like to take to parties, but especially holiday parties. My favorite thing about parties are the appetizers. And the people. The people are cool too. The first dish I have for you is an absolute showstopper. It is my baked Fontina dish. It is a little bit fondue-esque. It's melty, bubbly cheese that is super garlicky, and you can take whatever you want to lay out with your baked cheese for the dipping bread, fruits, vegetables. The first thing I'm gonna do is cube up my Fontina cheese. Fontina cheese melts so beautifully, so that is why it works in this dish. I have about 1.5 pounds here. Most grocery stores carry Fontina cheese in their cheese section. It's very easy to find. I really love this cheese because it just melts so beautifully. I like to make this in a cast iron skillet because I just think the presentation is really pretty when it goes to the table. You can make it in whatever dish you want that is oven proof to pretty high temperature. I want all the cheese to uniformly melt and get bubbly so we don't have some clumps of unmelted cheese. And the way to do that is first to cube them up into the same size cubes. But because of the way this cheese was cut for me, there was a thinner side. So I have these thin pieces and I'm just gonna stack them up together so that they melt at the same rate. And then you just wanna lay them all down in the pan. Make sure that they're not overlapping unless you're overlapping tiny pieces. And it's okay if they're crowded in there because again, this is all gonna get melty and bubbly together. If you do have some bigger chunks and you know where your pan gets hottest, put the bigger chunks in those areas. My pan gets hottest when it's baking on the edges. So I have some of my bigger chunks over on the edges. Once the cheese is in there, you can go ahead and set this aside. And now we can get started on what I am calling our herb confetti. I am using rosemary and fresh thyme, just about a tablespoon of fresh thyme and a teaspoon of rosemary. I've got my fresh thyme here, and now I'm just gonna do a few leaves of rosemary and chop those up. Brought the forest into my house. I first saw the queen, Ina Garten, bake Fontina, and she made it after she had it at one of her favorite restaurants, and I have not been able to look back since. It's one of those dishes, when I bring it, people are like, we won't let you back into our house again unless you bring this again. I'm like, noted. Don't like the threats, but noted. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of kosher salt, and we have our herb confetti. It's gonna bring so much brightness and earthiness to our melty cheese. Next, we're gonna do some sliced garlic cloves. Let's quickly talk about garlic math. You've heard girl math, I'm here for garlic math. This dish calls for 6 cloves of garlic sliced, and that makes it a very garlicky dish. So if you don't love something that's super garlicky forward, I would back off, maybe just do 4 garlic cloves. Garlic math. When a recipe calls for garlic, you double it. When a recipe calls for garlic and you had a bad day, you triple it. But also, if you're counting out your garlic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is this? What is this? Listen, it's a garlic, so I'm gonna use it. So I'm gonna use you to your fullest potential. This one's also kind of tiny. Okay, so this is 1 clove of garlic. This is garlic math. This is 1 clove of garlic. So now I have my 6 cloves. The cloves are just flying off today. And now all we have to do is assemble, and then it goes under the broiler. We're gonna drizzle over some olive oil, about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. You do want to have a good quality olive oil because this dish has such minimal ingredients. Everything is gonna come out. You're gonna taste the garlic, you're gonna taste the cheese, the herbs, and the olive oil. Highly recommend an olive oil you like eating on its own, like a dipping olive oil. I'm just gonna sprinkle the garlic evenly over everything. Wanna get all of the cheese, a little bit of garlic. Our garlic is evenly distributed. If you have someone in your life that doesn't like garlic, first of all, my sincere apologies. Second of all, you could just leave a section that doesn't have garlic. Last, our herb confetti. Let's give that another toss. Ah, it makes the dish look so pretty. If you wanted to make this a day ahead of time or right before you went over to the party, this is where you would stop. You can just cover this with foil, put it in the refrigerator overnight. The thing with this dish is you want to eat it right when it comes out of the oven, or else the cheese will start to harden. Usually what I'll do if I'm having people over, I'll wait until most of the guests arrive and then I'll pop it under the broiler. Jeremy will be getting people drinks. I'll get this going. I pop it out. I already have all of my bread, my veggies, my fruit ready to go. Put it on the table. People can dive right in. Our baked fontina just came out of the oven. My whole house smells so garlicky and delicious. When I serve this, I just make sure to put some kind of towel or some kind of oven mitt on the cast iron because you do not want anyone to touch this. This is very hot. I already have out what I am going to serve with my baked fontina, which is the carrots, the green apple, broccoli, and baguette. These are my favorite things, especially the green apple, you all. Now, you can make a much bigger platter, but this is my dinner. This is girl dinner, so I just made a platter for me.
Towards me.
If ever you need to just pop this back into the oven to let it get a little bit more melty and bubbly, keep it in your cast iron pan, put it under the broiler, it will get all nice and melty again. There's also this delicious garlic oil happening, so be sure to sop some of that up with your bread. I hope that your garlic needs are met to the utmost extent. Our next holiday appetizer or gathering appetizer, we are going to make my mascarpone stuffed mushrooms. I call these my magic mushrooms because they disappear like a magic trick. And even for people who have looked me straight in the face and have said, I hate mushrooms. And then I bring this into their home and it smells so insanely delicious that they're like, I'll try one. Yeah, I'll try one. And then they eat it and then they eat the whole pan. These are true stories. These are true stories. I think that you will love them. They also can be made a day ahead of time. You can just pop them in the oven right when you are ready to make them for guests. They're stuffed with Italian sausage and very creamy mascarpone and cheesy Parmesan. It is the perfect bite. The first thing you want to do is get an oven-safe pan. I like to use a cast iron skillet. There's a theme here. I love cast iron skillets. I use baby Bella mushrooms. And I just pop the stem out, lay them whole side up, well side up, top down in my pan. I'm gonna roughly chop up these stems. If you don't like mushrooms or know someone that really doesn't like mushrooms, you can do a very nice fine dice on these so they almost disappear, but they will probably see the whole mushroom in the stuffed mushroom part. I'm gonna go ahead and add my sausage to brown it. You can use Italian sausage, you can use hot Italian sausage if you want a little spice, and you can use breakfast sausage. I have breakfast sausage on hand, so that's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna let those mushrooms soak up some of the fat from the sausage, because remember, mushrooms soak up flavor. I'm gonna let these saute for about 3 minutes. I'm gonna deglaze with a little bit of white wine to get those brown bits up. Now it's time to make this mixture so creamy. I'm gonna add about 5 ounces of mascarpone cheese and some freshly shredded Parmesan cheese. This smells so good. It is exactly the creamy consistency that I want it with those brown bits of sausage. Before we stuff our mushrooms, I want to taste it because I want to make sure the stuffing is exactly how I want it to taste.
Yeah.
It's creamy. It has the perfect amount of salt. Everything is working together. I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper. This is perfection. All we have to do now is stuff these mushrooms and get them in the oven. I like stuffing them with a small spoon and a big spoon. Use whatever spoons you have available to you. It's time to get these in the oven for about 30 minutes. I want them in there for 30 minutes because even though the sausage mixture is completely cooked through, I want these mushrooms to get a little bit more tender. If you have leftover sausage mixture, save it. Save that. Tomorrow, make some rigatoni and put it over your noodles. Freshly shaved Parmesan, little fresh cracked black pepper. Perfection. Well, my house smells amazing. These mushrooms look so good. I would like to pop all of them into my mouth, but that is a burning hazard. Actually, these are so piping hot. This is maybe one of the most savory things I have ever eaten, and I eat a lot of savory things. The mixture is so rich and creamy. I hope you make at least one of these appetizers for your gatherings. They are absolute showstoppers. People will love them. People will love you, but they already love you. You are not loved based on food. But I'm just saying, more love. More love is more love. Girl dinner, girl dinner.